The following is a presentation of TFNN. Time to talk about your health. Living a primal lifestyle.
You know, we have Tom from Tampa on the phone. Hey, Tom. Good morning. It's bright and early now, huh?
Hey, Paige. Good. How you guys doing, Nico?
Doing great.
Good. Hey, your newsletter's outstanding, man. I'm telling you, man, it is outstanding. And so is the Primal Wave. I love that stuff. I'd never be without it. I mean, I've been on it now 3-4 months, man. I mean, it's just, I can't get over how good I feel.
Primal Edge is, people are raving about it. People who are trying it, they know because you can feel it.
Would not be without it.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now your hosts, Nico and Haan and Paige Clarke.
Well, good morning. Good morning. I am Paige Clarke. Welcome to Living a Primal Lifestyle. And this is where we explore a return to a more balanced, natural, and wild world.
That's right, to recover our natural health and regain our rights and freedoms. And I'm Nico and Haan.
It is a beautiful morning in downtown Clearwater, 73 degrees. We have the full harvest moon, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about that in a second.
Oh, I saw it this morning as I was driving in.
It's just gorgeous. Yeah. It looks like you could reach down and touch it.
Yeah, right in the western sky over the water. It's gorgeous this morning.
Yeah, make sure you subscribe to our Health Signals newsletter, news you can use in your inbox twice a month. $10 a month gets you issues with links and helpful information so you can live longer, stronger, healthier, and wealthier.
Nicely put, Paige. And I remember to pick up our Primal Edge, our one-shot wonder. It's over 310 cell-ready liquid ingredients that are all powered by fulvic and humic acid to let the good stuff in
and the bad stuff out.
That's right.
And if you're up and at it, give us a call and join the conversation, 877-927-6648. So what exactly is a harvest moon, and why is the October full moon called the harvest moon?
Well, it's harvest time.
Right,
its
history
fall.
Runs pretty deep.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. The farmers are the ones who probably named it somewhere along the line.
Yeah, way before Neil Young did. Even though I like Neil Young's version of it too, you know. But according to Earth sky, the harvest moon is what we call the full moon that falls closest to the autumn equinox, and it occurs when the sun crosses the equator in late September, as we know. And we've lately had one. We had one last year, and we'll have another one next year. It just kind of depends on how things go. But I thought it was interesting that the name for history probably sprang to the lips of farmers throughout the northern hemisphere on autumn evenings as the harvest moon aided in bringing in the crops.
Yeah, and a lot of times the harvest moon is very large. It looks like it's a little bit closer at this time of year.
Closer,
yeah.
So it's larger, so it creates a lighted environment while we often mourn the end of summer and the start of fall's shorter days because an earlier nightfall can hinder our commutes or limit the possibility of after work happy hours and so forth. The autumn equinox poses a much more serious problem for farmers living the years before we had electricity. And this article says that shorter days meant a shorter window for bringing in the crops, which meant a decrease in the earning power of the farmer. And without the tractor lights and other agricultural technologies that growers have today, these farmers were forced to wrap up their harvest as soon as the sky grew dark and cut down on visibility.
Yeah, interesting, too. I was reading an article yesterday, and I was talking to Tom O'Brien about this, that in France, they're having a real problem with the grapes because they've had a bad year with the grapes.
That's what I was listening to, David's podcast, yeah.
Yeah, and the interesting thing that he was saying, people were stealing grapes in the middle of the night. They're coming in there, and the far away, from the plant where it is, people are coming in, and they're finding their fields completely ravished, and people bring in the trucks and everything, a whole bunch of crew.
That's a great segue from this article. That's exactly right. The darkness comes, and the farmers needed to be aware and perhaps even protect their crops from the darkness.
The reason I say this is because, of course, when you have a bad year with grapes and now people are stealing them, do these people know that the grand solar minimum is coming? And that's what David was talking about on that podcast you were listening to. And he was mentioning that this is going to be more of an occurrence.
And the most valuable commodities on the planet are going to be food and wheat and corn and grapes and commodity foods.
So if you're buying some French wine and they're at good prices, it's time to stock up now.
That's exactly right.
So what are we talking about today?
Okay, today I wanted to really kind of go in to continue our conversation about what is true health. And we're learning more and more that our true health is most greatly impacted when we are assuring ourselves that we have good mitochondrial health.
Yes.
And what are the mitochondria again? They are the energy organisms within your cells. And many hundreds of thousands of years, we, as a small cell organism, joined forces with this other bacteria or other living organism that really we created a symbiotic relationship.
Right.
And the mitochondria is the energy currency of our cells. Yeah. So here's a great article from Natural Stacks, 5 ways to boost your mitochondria and keep yourself healthy. You know, they started out saying, exogenous ketones or so 2016. When the ketogenic movement came out, everybody was like, oh, hey, here's another supplement. Let's take ketones for energy. But now we're talking about let's figure out how to make our own. Let's create our mitochondrial energy. So the future of biohacking, health and wellness, maybe IV injections of exogenous mitochondria. At least that's what some Chinese researchers are working towards.
Yeah, the mitochondria are energy-producing power plants within our cells, and they generate the majority of the ATP.
Which is our energy currency.
Those are cells that are used for energy, and these are, we use this for our everyday tasks like walking and talking, but also recovery, getting your body into a state where it's constantly replacing its cells so we're nice and healthy.
Good, healthy repair. Yeah. So when you hear of people who are suffering, and so many people suffering from chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, these energy deficits, you can certainly see what they're really suffering from is mitochondrial disease.
Yeah,
in fact, all diseases of chronic disease, illness, metabolic diseases, heart disease, diabetes, cancer, all the diseases that we need to be concerned about are mitochondrial disease dysfunction.
A lot of times we call that as well, this is just because we're getting older.
That's what they've told us, so that we think that there's a drug for every ill. The truth is not. It's our mitochondria are not getting what they need.
Here's a cool little illustration about breaking down what actually is happening inside the cell.
Right.
And how it works. Not that easy to understand, but it's a nice illustration.
It says here, over the last few years, volumes of research have strengthened the link between mitochondrial dysfunction and disease states. And
interesting that there's no current medicines that exist for this. So we have to really repair ourselves, and we have to get our whole food thing in order so our body can be healthy. So
it says, a quote states, mitochondrial dysfunction has been tied to a large number of human disorders, including neurological and muscular degeneration, cardiovascular disorders, obesity, diabetes, and accelerated aging. It is, in fact, the cause, I believe, of aging.
Yeah, and we hear a lot about Alzheimer's and, of course, dementia. All these different brain diseases are tied directly to the mitochondria, they say.
So here's some people doing this research, as we mentioned. In China, they're doing some research on not just drinking exogenous ketones, but getting exogenous, or outside of your own, not produced by your body, exogenous mitochondria delivered through an IV, and how these IV injections may actually help improve health. We're going to explore this a little more.
And give you some tips. We have 5 ways to naturally boost your own
mitochondria. So stick with us. We'll be right back after this break. Pick up some Primal Edge. Get on that newsletter. Stay connected with us. We'll be right back.
That's right. You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Platinum, grains, crude oil, gold, copper, cattle, hogs, gasoline, natural gas, coffee, cotton, cocoa, and sugar. These are just some of the commodities mentioned in the most recent issue of Andy Hecht's Techno-Mental Commodity Report. Andy publishes his weekly newsletter every Thursday morning, where he breaks down the commodity market and provides his subscribers with specific trading recommendations based on his trading methodology. By signing up for a free trial to the Techno-Mental Commodity Report, you'll get a full 30 days to try out this powerful newsletter service and see for yourself the types of trades Andy has recommended for his subscribers. When you sign up for a 30-day free trial, you're under no obligation to pay anything. And should you decide to continue, you will lock in the low rate of only $79 a month. Sign up right now for the Techno-Mental Commodity Report and make sure you're ready to catch the next big trade in commodities. For more information and to get started today, visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Will the S&P 500 continue to climb? For bold trades on U.S. large-cap stocks in either direction, trade SPXL, SPUU, or SPXS. Directions Daily S&P 500 Bull and Bear Leveraged ETFs. Direction Leveraged ETFs. An investor should carefully consider a fund's investment objective, risks, charges, and expenses before investing. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a fund's prospectus and summary prospectus, call 866-476-7523 or visit directioninvestments.com. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Nico and Paige take your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
Welcome back to the show. So we're talking about mitochondria, and here's 5 ways to boost it because, this is the only way we're going to get better.
If we want to optimize both our quality and our duration of our life, we have to get involved.
And the first one is really something that Jack Cruz talks about, and I know you talk about. And
I revolve my world around sun exposure now.
Yeah, it's sun exposure, and this is one of the most powerful boosters for your mitochondria to get you the health and the well-being that you need.
Yeah, Dr. Gerald Pollack, which I know you guys recognize that name. Dr. Gerald Pollack really wrote the book Fourth Phase of Water and was really the inspiration for Robbie Bessner's product that we have at theragoods.com that we've shared with you all. But Dr. Gerald Pollack explains that this photoelectric effect occurs when light is absorbed by water in our cells. We are, after all, a bag of water. Yeah.
Right. The effects changes the structure of water and creates exclusion zones. They call them EZs, or areas of charged water, H3O2 instead of H2O.
So, folks, the sun is an active participant in structuring our cellular water, and this creates our photoelectric body. The negative charge increases the mitochondrial membrane potential, thereby improving mitochondrial function. It's like getting your charge. It's like plugging in every day.
Yeah, and in layman's terms, sunlight produces beneficial negative charge inside your cells and activates your mitochondria. Think of this as a negative charge as stored energy itself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if you haven't seen Dr. Gerald Pollack talk, you can Google him on TED Talks. He's really a fascinating guy, and I had a chance to meet him at Bulletproof, sweet and kind. So number 2 after sunlight is cold thermogenesis.
Isn't that interesting?
Really, we are beings that use light and temperature as signals. How fascinating is that? But yet, when we live in these temperature-controlled environments, the body's not getting the environment. But short bursts of exposure to extreme cold temperatures can upregulate mitochondrial biogenesis, making new mitochondria, by tricking the body into thinking it has to enter into survival mode.
Yeah, so if we got you're inside all the time, sitting down particularly, and you don't get that sunlight, you don't get that fresh air, then you're creating a type of atmosphere for yourself that is very detrimental to your health. Mm-hmm. So being outside, getting that sun exposure is so crucial. And just think about it. The last 20, 30 years, we've been talking about it. Stay out of the sun.
Well, I've always said if you want to live a long time and be healthy, you have to do 180 health, and that's do the complete opposite of what they're telling you, because the people that are telling you have a vested interest and they make money. But let's talk a little bit about, we need the signals from light and dark, but we also need the signals from hot and cold.
That's right.
And the short-term stress of cold elicits a hormetic response. What is hormetic? Hormetic is a word that means a little dose of something makes you stronger. Yeah. A little bit of exercise makes you stronger, but these marathon runs, they tear you down.
One thing it says here that daily cold, 20 seconds of exposure of 32 degrees Fahrenheit 3 times a week is enough to reap the benefits of this. So you don't have to do a lot of it, like you said. That's really important to know.
Isn't that that's a great point. I actually didn't realize it was such a little bit, but if you live in a place where you can get cold water out of your faucet, which we don't.
Well, actually, when I took my warm shower and then I turn off all the heat and just put the cold on, you can feel the difference, because there is a difference in it. And that's, I think, a bigger thing. If it's 85 degrees where I am and I go down to 65 or 70 degrees, that's the same as if you're at 60 degrees and go down to, maybe 35.
Well, I've started implementing this, and I think some of the numbers are more in the 50s. So we need to work to get things down into the 50s.
No doubt about it. But, and that'll happen as it gets colder out coming into winter. But here in Florida, we're kind of stuck with it unless you got a lot of ice on hand.
So how about that? 20 seconds of 32-degree water or temperature exposure 3 times a week is enough for your body to say, ooh, let's make some of that brown fat instead of that fat.
Yeah,
you can do it through daily cold showers.
Yeah, you can use polar plunges or walking shirtless in cold temperatures. Maybe, our Russian friend Putin, you always see him.
He's smart. Did you see the thing I posted, that Russian daycare, they have their kids go out and strip down and play in the snow?
Nice.
That's part of their activity.
That's pretty cool.
I just think they're way ahead. You also, the bonus points for walking shirtless on sunny winter days, as this increases both cold and sun exposure. I have to share this with my son Austin, as you know, because my son is relocating to Tahoe. He's going to be working at one of the ski resorts, so he'll be getting the sun, and he'll be getting the cold exposure. So I think I've just sent this to him. So the third benefit of lifestyle changes that you can make to strengthen your mitochondria is intermittent fasting. And we've shared this with you. Numerous studies have linked calorie restriction to improved mitochondrial function and increased longevity. Our mitochondria are healthier, so therefore we live longer, since they are the energy gurus of our cells.
Yeah, it helps you with oxygen efficiency. It reduces oxidative stress byproducts. It's also theorized that refraining from continuous eating reduces the free radical production.
I think that's just so true. I think eating is a real big stressor on us. So the grazing mentality is really kind of going out the door.
Yeah. And another thing that, when you stop eating, you're much more likely to tap into your fat stores. So this is another way to get into ketosis.
That's right.
As soon as you emptied your bowels and your stomach and everything like that, and there's nothing in there, your body has only 2 sources. One would be the sucrose that's next to your muscles, and then the fat that's all over your body, including your muscles.
That's right. And you can achieve the benefits of intermittent fasting and the calorie restriction that creates that simply by incorporating intermittent fasting just a few times per week. It's that you don't have to starve yourself every day, but you can do it a few times a week, maybe have a day of fasting, or increase the time frame from your dinner meal to your first meal of the day.
Yeah, they say the benefits really are between 60 and 20 hours per day when you do a fast like that, followed by 4 to 8 hours of eating windows, little windows where you eat during those 4 to 8 hours. So if you have your dinner at 6 o'clock, you're sleeping all night, say you wake up at 6 o'clock, you don't have your breakfast and wait till 12 or 2 o'clock, you're in that window.
It's kind of the 16-8, go 16 hours without and then try and get all your meals into the 6 to 8 hour window. Yeah,
exactly.
That's super great. And move more. That's number 4. The average American sits for 13 hours a day. And when you add in the recommended sleep of 8 hours, and we're sedentary for 21 to 24 hours a day, that's nearly 88% of our time.
Yeah, this is, the average American sits for 13 hours, and a lot of traders are sitting too. Some of them have wised up and started standing a little bit more.
Maybe got the standing desks.
But maybe a little timer, so every 20 minutes or 30 minutes, that timer goes off. It's time to just move around for a couple of minutes, and that's enough to keep you from that sedentary lifestyle, just moving, say, 5 minutes out of that hour.
Mm-hmm. And I was reading too about your eyes, and those of you that are looking at the screens, we have to give ourselves an eye break too. Mm-hmm. We need to move our eyes and get away from the screen. And finally, using fat for fuel. The mitochondria can use fatty acids or carbohydrates to create the ATP for our cell energy. Yeah. And we've been preaching that for quite some time.
Definitely have. And when we come back, we're going to go over some ways that you can get into ketosis and not to be too serious about it. We want you to ease into these types of things.
That's right.
We'll be right back.
Would like to tell you about the personal training studio that Nico is the owner and president of, Performance Training. Since 1998, Nico has trained individuals and groups to improve their health both mentally and physically. As a certified personal trainer, Nico's main focus is on demonstrating exercises correctly to avoid injury and teaching his clients how to manage their past injuries while getting the most out of their personal training sessions. The Performance Training Studio is filled with unique training equipment that enhances balanced results at a faster rate while minimizing damage and discomfort. For more information, you can give Nico a call at 727-418-8740 or email him at nico@tfnn.com. Let him know you heard him on TFNN and save up to $100 on a special package just for TFNN listeners. Act today.
Tiger TV is an exciting way to experience TFNN programming. See high-definition video, giving you crystal clear charts, as well as seeing some of the faces of TFNN's highly acclaimed financial experts with crisp, full-fidelity sound. Catch Tom O'Brien, John Logan, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, Larry Pesavento, Thinkorswim, David White, Andy Hecht, and Daryl Martin in crystal clear, high-definition audio and video. Tiger TV, exclusively at TFNN.com.
Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den, but wondered, what exactly is it? The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of your favorite TFNN shows, plus see all the charts as they happen, live during those shows, and have access to all those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den, absolutely free for 30 days. It will greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. This segment is brought to you by thinkorswim. For more information, just click the thinkorswim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Welcome back to Living a Primal Lifestyle, and we're learning that it's really the things that we do, it is our lifestyle, that really help us to stay optimal.
Yeah.
And the ketogenic diet has been a tool that's getting a lot of attention, and, without being category crazy, paleo, primal, traditional, ketogenic, these are all dietary lifestyles that show the importance of certain foods to help us, burn fat, be fat-burning beasts, and have the best mitochondrial energy.
Yeah, and being keto-adapted is the new buzzword, I think, that's going on. Just like 10 years ago, we were talking about paleo lifestyle. Now we're talking more about keto, and this is more about the type of research that a lot of the people are doing at the University of South Florida, like Dominic
D'Agostino?
D'Agostino, and other people around the world, knowing that they're fighting cancer, and they're finding that when you change your diet, it solves a heck of a lot more problems than dealing with the drugs and the types of therapies.
Well, after all, drugs are mitochondrial poisons, but yet diet says when we give the mitochondria the fuel they prefer, they can thrive.
Yeah, so I ran across this article with Mark's Daily Apple, which, he must have a lot of writers, because there's a lot of writing goes on with his site. But I appreciate it because I like the kind of, this is kind of where he says where I part ways with the popular keto movement. And that's kind of like a little catchphrase to get your attention, to get you to read this article.
Yeah, because he says it's the explosive growth and interest in this ketogenic diet that's been a net good for nutrition. But he's got in this article, it kind of piques your interest. He wants to have a few caveats here.
Yeah, I think the gist of this, what I got out of it, was that people are just obsessing over, measuring those ketones in your urine or maybe in a blood test, and just if you're not quite there, you start getting anxiety, and that's not really what lifestyle is all about. It's reducing the anxiety that we have.
Reducing stress altogether, right?
Yeah, so paying attention to those numbers is kind of cool in the beginning to get you started in this, but being obsessed about these numbers. I mean, I know a lot of people that are taking their urine sample every single day with that little strip and seeing if it's purple or not. I don't even use any of that, and I had thought about getting my breath measured, and I thought, everything is going well. I know I'm in ketosis, and when I go out of ketosis, it's not a bad thing. But there are things that help you get into ketosis and stay in ketosis in this article, and that's very interesting to me, because I think people should know that, first of all, you shouldn't obsess about it. It's really important that you are in ketosis, but you don't have to stay there all day. You can go in and out of it. It doesn't really make any difference. And the other point, Paige, is that everybody's a little bit different. While my numbers might be one thing, your numbers are probably different, and both are okay.
And I see a lot of women have a little harder time sometimes. I shouldn't say all women, but a lot of women struggle at first to get in. Then they're actually really smooth with it.
Yeah, and I think there are several reasons for that. First of all, women seem to take more medications, especially in the form of birth control pills and things like that. Their exposure to toxins through the type of pads that they're using, to the type of makeup they're using, these things all impact that same thing. So that's my own little theory. I don't know if there's any tests that we can prove that.
Well, no, there are. There's actually some research that says that women are exposed to 213 chemicals before they even walk out the door to go to work because of our toxic makeup and all that. But let's get on to this, the obsession with ketosis as a desirable state of being. Maybe the ideal state of being for everyone, but everyone misses the point. Consider how worked up people get over ketone measurements. Are they registering? Are they sticks purple? What are you doing wrong? And even some long-term ketogenic people will register high numbers. But
he's citing two people.
Yeah, Peter I'm so glad I saw this, because I kept saying, who is that doctor that was early adapter? Now
really
I said his
physically
name.
fit.
Yeah,
he looks good. Of course, Dominic D'Agostino, of course, he's been working with ketones for the past decade. Of course, he uses them.
Yeah.
So
they say others level off with keto adaptation to the point that they get very low readings despite eating a classic keto diet and seeing huge benefits. That's what you're saying. Don't get obsessed with the keto reading. Do the lifestyle. Observe how you feel.
Yeah. And we really don't know why some people numbers are different eating the same thing, but it's probably because everybody's a little bit different and their upbringing is different. And what did you do the past 30 years to your diet? And I think that plays a big role. So what you ate for the last 30 years makes a difference in how easy it is to get into ketosis or not. Mm-hmm. Because, well,
I mean, this whole idea of consider the fact that the ketogenic diet increases your brain's mitochondrial biogenesis. You create more mitochondria in your brain, so you're going to think better, and that improves energy metabolism. And it's probably a big reason why keto is so great for Alzheimer's, for autism and other brain disorders, but it's not the only way to do it. And after all, exercise is another way to increase your mitochondrial biogenesis in the brain. Even in non-keto rodents in test labs, they showed that the exercise had the same effect.
Yeah, and the other thing is, too, of course, we just had the article before that, how to boost your mitochondria, and we found out that the sunlight, we found out the thermogenesis.
The cold thermogenesis, the exercise, and the fat adaptation.
The fat adaptation. So there's a lot of things that get you into this, so don't obsess with one thing. Use them all.
Yeah, it says rather than micromanage your metabolism using incomplete information, you'd rather delegate and let your endocrine system regulate your calorie intake based on what your body requires. Most importantly, you want to regain the ancestral pathway of fat burning and actually put those massive storage depots to use. That's the thing, trying to access that stored fat, sending that message to your brain that it's cool. You can release the stored fat. You don't have to hang on to it.
Right.
We've got a mechanism.
Remember, our stored fat is where we carry our toxins. So by releasing that, we're also releasing toxins.
And guess what some of those toxins are? They're not just toxins, physical toxins. They're emotional toxins.
Yeah.
It's an insulator
the
against.
toxins are stress causes the toxins too. So it's as easy as a fast. If you do a 16-hour fast, boom, you're knocked into ketosis, and there you go.
So keto doesn't really require that you gorge on fat. I think a lot of people have a misconception about that.
No, I think it's a balance of eating just enough fat, getting just enough exercise, getting just enough sun exposure, doing a fast now and then, taking a deep plunge, and also probably a sauna. And all those things will keep you in ketosis much easier than if you're trying to focus just on the eating part.
Yeah. I think a lot of people, when they start to think of ketogenic diet, just like they think paleo, you're eating a huge brontosaurus steak. With keto, they think you're, walloping in, pounds of butter. And it's not that extreme. There's a lot of extreme imagery in being, sharing all of this. But being on a ketogenic diet means you do have to eat dietary fat, and that a high percentage of your calories will come from this fat, as the calories must come from somewhere.
But it's not the volume.
But keto doesn't require that you eat large absolute volumes.
Yeah, and the quickest way to reach ketosis is really not by eating. It's by burning the fat you already have in your body. So not eating the fat.
Oh, that's a strong statement.
Yeah. So tapping into those stores fat is much better than adding fat on top of it and trying to burn that.
Yeah. Just think about this. All the best keto biohacking supplements to jumpstart your new keto lifestyle already reside on your hips, your belly, your arms, and the rest of your body. Boy, do we know that.
That's for sure. Yeah. So you want to get in the keto zone, he calls it. So we'll continue with this.
Yeah, how do you get in the keto zone?
I don't know.
We're going to find out.
And the keto
you better
zone
stay
is right
with
here.
us. That's right.
The zone. Yeah, we'll be right back.
We'll be right back.
You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, oil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Tom O'Brien's weekly gold letter, The Gold Report, gives complete and concise coverage of the entire gold market. Inside, you'll get Tom's commentary on gold, the dollar, the rand, the bond, the XAU, the HUI, and detailed coverage of nearly 25 mining stocks. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock trade. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. With a lifetime of knowledge and almost 12 years of writing his informative weekly newsletter, The Gold Report, Tom O'Brien can provide you with the important market information to help you make better trades in the gold market. Don't let the next bull run in gold pass you by. To get a month-long free trial to The Gold Report, an $85 value, visit the front page of TFNN.com today.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV for the latest market information.
Welcome to the show. You know, Inside the Den, we have some awesome people. And Zia here was talking about that. Joined me for the polar plunge in February. So he sent me a link.
Tao's already thinking about getting his cold thermogenesis.
The thing I like about this, when you see all these pictures of the people, they're all smiling, having a great time.
It's cold.
And other people are saying, why would you do this to yourself? Well, if you have never done it, and you've never seen Wim Hof and used his breathing methods, it really does help you to breathe properly and to get your mind in the zone.
Yeah, I see those people in the bathrobe, and all I can think about is, you know, how good they feel after that cold, having that warm stuff. It's that contrast. And I tried to find it on the break, that article that shows these schools in Russia, the children, it's part of they go to recess, strip down, and they play in the snow. And that's what they do. They want them to get that cold exposure.
Yeah. Well, when I was in Canada, we didn't do that, but there was a nice hill behind my elementary school. We had just enough during that recess, that 15 minutes, to run up the hill and ski down. And all the skis were lined up right outside. It was just fond memories of being in the cold. And I used to love the cold. Still do. I'm, I think, more prepared for it now, but it's cold is good.
Mm-hmm. Well, tell us a little bit more about what Mark Sisson is saying here when he says keto doesn't require gorging on fat. In fact, keto doesn't have to be ketogenic. Explain it.
Yeah, he calls it the keno zone, a range of carbohydrates intakes that causes you to drift in and out of ketosis without even realizing it. For most, the keto zone might correlate to consuming between 20 and 120 grams. That's quite a spread of carbs per day. Less one day, more the next. More ketones today, fewer the next day. So you're not really measuring everything and saying this is going to make me. You can actually probably feel yourself getting in and out of it.
He says, you're either in the verge of becoming in the ketone zone or you're in the verge of leaving it. Yeah. So it's always that stress. And
a lot of athletes, of course, use carbs before workouts. So they probably just before the workout, they might be out of ketosis. But as soon as they start moving for a while, then it puts them back into it. And they still have that extra stores of carbohydrate right around their muscles. So when they are reaching areas where you need more exertion, you're going to have that right there with your muscle. And that's a nice little afterburner, I call it, to make you more of a rocket man.
So we have a comment in the chat room, catch a cold or pneumonia, probably in response to my comment about the kids. See, that's the fallacy. Maybe we'll bring up this chart I wanted to go through. That is the conflict between Pasteur, the germ theory, and Beauchamp, which was the environment. If you have a healthy mitochondrial and body and metabolism, you don't get sick. That's why some people get the flu and some don't. If you have an unhealthy terrain, the terrain is everything. So no, you don't catch pneumonia from being in the cold.
So we had our grandfather, when I was living in Sudbury, Ontario, we had my mother's father, grandfather, Opa, with us for maybe 3 or 4 years, living with us when he first came over to Canada. And one of the things he did, he says, I love winter so much, he would go out barefooted in the snow for about 10 minutes every single morning.
That's important.
And we were all thought, my mother thought he was nuts, everybody thought he was crazy. But here we see the genius in it all.
And it is exact genius. In fact, those of us that live in these areas like Florida where we don't have the cold, yet the majority of us are from Northern European descent, we're sending in what Jack Cruz calls a mitochondrial mismatch. Our body's not getting the signal it was designed to get. It's like, hey, where the heck's the cold? So this is kind of neat. You know, I like this idea that Mark Sisson's taking a little pressure off, meaning you can be having ketogenic benefits without being, quote unquote, in the, you know, a diehard keto person. So, you know, if you do have a super intense workout and you decide to have a sweet potato at a meal before or after, it's going to you're going to restore your glycogen. And if you skip a meal or two, you can almost hear the whirl of your mitochondria processing your body fat for energy. And I want my mitochondria processing the body fat.
And it's the same with exercise. You don't have to go crazy and go to CrossFit or take jiu-jitsu or some other kind of sport, basketball, intense types of sports. I have one of my clients that does basketball twice a week. I mean, that's heavy-duty stuff, especially when you're in your 60s or 70s.
Well, I think if you're doing it because you enjoy it, great. But if you're doing it because you feel like you have to work this hard, that's just another stress.
Yeah,
right.
So find something that you love to do with movement, and you'll do it. Whether it's playing tennis, it doesn't really matter. Just going for that walk is enough.
Mark says, you maintain your ideal body weight and composition without counting much of anything. Calories, carbs, ketones, or Instagram likes for your high-fat coffee photos.
Yeah, ketosis isn't the goal. It's a tool to help you get the real goals of metabolic flexibility, broad-based primal athletic competency, protection against the epidemic of diet-influenced modern diseases, pretty much all the diseases what we often talk about.
Especially the, cognitive decline.
Yeah, so the goal really is to be an effective fat burner when you're in that zone. Yes. And to release your dependency on carbohydrates for fuel. So we have a great dependency on carbohydrates because that's what every food company and our government pushes, and even the doctors can be pushing you towards eating lots and lots of carbs. The way to get into ketosis, and one of the best ways, is to restrict your carbs at some level.
That's right.
It's different for everybody. For me, it's about 25 grams. It's a certain percentage. I just use the old system is where my piece of meat is this much, and if I'm eating any greens, it's usually about twice the size. But lately, I've been doing it about the same portions.
Yeah, I don't think you have any problems with green vegetables throwing you in and out of ketosis whatsoever, especially if you put a little butter on them, which is the way greens taste the best.
Yeah, I think the worst thing that can cut you out of it is the type of breakfast you have, because that starts your day. So if you're starting with juices and you're starting with cereals, you're starting with pancakes, and then add coffee on top of it. Coffee is a great tool to use if you use it with the right things, but not with carbohydrates. So, there's a lot of things that you can do to start this process. But again, what Mark Sisson is telling you, don't obsess over it, but find the adaptation in the type of food you eat, in the type of exercise you do, in how you fast and how you get thermogenesis, how you detox. All these things contribute to being very healthy and in ketosis without the stress. So you're adapting it at many different levels. That's why the research is so important, that when Mark puts something like this out, it's to get your attention, and that headline really doesn't mean a lot until you look and see what he's saying. He's saying don't stress, because the added stress is what's causing you problems in the first place.
There you go. There you go. So we like that. And, we're coming into the winter, so maybe you can look at the winter weather as a way to fuel your fat burning instead of the winter being a time to gain weight. Mm-hmm. Well, it's the circadian rhythm mismatch. If you're eating sugary bananas and pastas and breads, these are not foods that are growing and available in the winter. You try to eat foods that are available in the winter, and you're going to do better. And I do think that going more ketogenic, more fat, nutrient-dense foods as we get colder will help us stay in that fat burning.
Yeah, and if you just start eliminating the carbs that are processed, that'll go a long way to seeing what other food is there and what you should be eating. So stick around, folks. We have another segment coming up.
That's right. When we come back, how does a pomegranate protect women, primarily menopausal women, postmenopausal women, and save their lives? The favorite little pomegranate. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Steve Rhodes, host of the Trader's Edge heard daily at TFNN.com and author of Mastering Probability, a daily investment and trading newsletter service that I send out each morning by 8 a.m. My morning newsletter service covers exactly what the markets have been doing since last night's close, providing you with an edge on your trading day ahead. You get actionable trading ideas, including the exact entry, stop, and profit targets. Plus, I'll teach you the patterns and hidden market correlations that will make you a better trader. As a subscriber, you'll gain access to my 90-minute money management workshop, where I'll teach you the secrets that'll save your assets. The bottom line, I've got your back, including a 30-day money-back guarantee. See for yourself the type of analysis I provide each trading day by signing up for Mastering Probability today. With nothing to lose, this is an offer you should not pass on. Mastering Probability can be found under Trading Newsletters on the front page of TFNN.com.
If you're an active trader looking for that extra edge when it comes to trading and investments, then now is a great time to get a 2-week free trial to Tom O'Brien's daily market letter, Market Insights. Tom O'Brien's daily newsletter, Market Insights, comes out every market day at around 9:30 a.m. and provides Tom's daily commentary on the broad market, including the Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P, plus specific trade recommendations. There's even an update published most afternoons to keep you informed about the day's market activity. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock and option trade. With Market Insights, there's nothing left to guessing. For all the details and to get your 2-week free trial to Market Insights started today, visit TFNN.com.
No matter where you're listening to TFNN programming, you can always access your favorite shows on demand through TFNN.com. TFNN airs live programming every market day from 8 a.m. till 6 p.m. Eastern, and you can view each program by accessing Tiger TV through our homepage. We even have an easy link for all mobile devices, including iPhones, iPads, and Android devices, located in the top right-hand corner of the TFNN homepage. You can use your smartphone to view Tiger TV, but if you don't have a connection that can keep up with streaming live video, then you can simply visit TFNN.mobi in the browser of your smartphone for live streaming audio of all our programs. The mission of TFNN is to educate our audience directly and interactively through our interactive website and call-in talk shows. TFNN is able to teach all levels of investors the technical skills needed to trade in today's marketplace. In order to get the best information possible, TFNN has assembled the most respected financial minds in the country to provide the most current news and comprehensive advice available. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Primal Lifestyle. Modern women at midlife have many options when it comes to dealing with nasty menopausal symptoms, mood swings, depression, bone loss, and caused by the fluctuating estrogen levels. But their most surprising source of natural relief comes from an ancient food, the juicy pomegranate. And I've shared some articles with you all from Green Med Info, as this one is also. because they do a lot of evidence-based research on the healing powers in the phytochemicals of food. And of course, if you look at the picture of the pomegranate juice, the first thing we see is this vibrant red color. And the pomegranate has been tied to good heart health and also to female reproductive health. And if you look at the pomegranate, the doctrine of signatures, it looks very much like an ovary. An ovary is a little sack of eggs, okay?
And the color certainly is blood.
And it also looks like the heart, very similar to a chambered, when you cut it open. But pomegranates have been cultivated for over 4,000 years, and it dates back to around 750 BC. It comes from the Latin word punicum malum, which means Phoenician apple.
Yeah, they've been called Chinese apple or the Phoenician apple, like you said. Despite its frequent comparison to an apple, the pomegranate bears a striking resemblance to the female ovary, just like you said. It's not too surprising, then, that the symbol for fertility in ancient cultures was the pomegranate.
Yeah, the Zoroastrians used to use the pomegranate to symbolize female fertility, and fruits in general are defined. Fruit, is defined as the developed ovary of a seed plant. But in the case of the pomegranate fruit, the physical resemblance to a female ovary is quite striking. And looking at a cross-section of each reveals how similar are the containers for the pomegranate seeds as that to the ovum eggs.
But it doesn't stop there, because the fruit also provides the same estrogens as the female ovary.
Estradiol, estrone, and estriol. So it's, one of the things I do with my clients is I teach them that they can have hormone balance without hormones. And these are my little tricks up my sleeve. You can use these natural things.
Yeah, and then this is the way, again, we're talking about plants as medicine. And I'm sure our ancient ancestors related the look of the plants as a sign that it's good for that area.
That's exactly right.
This is the way that they'd be thinking.
So what we see is relief for menopausal women in both the depressive moods that happen, a loss of bone mass, osteoporosis, breast cancer, and heart disease. And I don't want to miss that. I believe that pomegranate juice, I keep sharing one of the researched articles that I found at PubMed that explained that the juice of a pomegranate, and obviously preferably the whole fruit. I always like to get the whole fruit, but even real high-quality sourced pomegranate juice, a simple shot of it a day for both males and females has shown beneficial effect. Its astringent nature is very cleansing to the arterial tree and has shown a reduction of carotid artery plaque of up to 30% with just a year's worth of one-shot wonder of that.
Yeah, so here again, the healing benefits, and these are proven through different tests. Lowers cholesterol. A 2000 study found the pomegranate juice is rich in antioxidants, which prevents LDL cholesterol from oxidizing and leading to...
Yeah, LDL's not bad. We just don't want it to oxidize, and that's exactly what this does. It lowers blood pressure.
Yeah. A small 2004 clinical study by Israeli researchers concluded that drinking 1 glass a day of pomegranate juice may lower the blood pressure.
And it reverses the plaque buildup in the carotid arteries by up to 29%. There's my number, I told you.
And blood clotting, a recent study in the Journal of Medicinal Foods showed that pomegranate juice slows down the platelet aggregation and thins blood, preventing clotting.
Yeah, so it improves your coronary heart disease by several different studies that have proven it's good for your cardiovascular. And after all, postmenopausal women begin to have a similar cardiovascular risk profile after the menopause. Yeah. So it's a good time to put it all together.
Yeah, and it increases the oxygen flow, which is great for your blood and everything. So, thanks for sticking around, folks. We'll see you next time.
We'll see you next show. Stay healthy.
Bye-bye.
Since 1984, Basil Chapman has been using the Chapman Wave methodology to advise traders of his expert market opinion. While originally hand-drawing charts from the late 1970s into the 1980s, Basil noticed that prices under most circumstances virtually always had a certain number of legs to the upside before declining sharply. Later, Basil found that computer software, which included the standard market technical indicators, enhanced the degree of accuracy in calling price turns, as well as market trend calls. Thus was born the Chapman Wave sequence. Using the Chapman Wave methodology along with other indicators, Basil Chapman advises his subscribers subscribers of his expert market opinion each market day with his Opening Call newsletter. Right now, you can get a 2-week free trial to the Opening Call, Basil's daily trading newsletter, by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Cancel at any time during that trial and pay absolutely nothing. Get your 2-week free trial to Basil's newsletter, The Opening Call, today by visiting TFNN.com.
You're watching Tiger TV.